Good morning. It's Friday, September 24th, 2021. As they say in the trade, thank God it's Friday. And let it be known through the unique intersection of variables of his delightful versatility and extraordinary talents, Antonio Fargas has entered his image into national and international folklore. He achieved a worldwide audience through his role on Starsky and Hutch as the incorrigible and lovable Huggy Bear, launching a path to credits for more extensive roles. Also known for his role on Everybody Hates Chris as Doc, who runs the corner store. That role earned Antonio Fargas a NAACP Image Award. Today, you're going to hear from the legendary actor Antonio Fargas. But first, of course, the news this morning. The fallout from that racist slavery era like horseback whipping of Haiti migrants continues as Daniel Foote, the U.S. Special Envoy for Haiti, has handed in his resignation to Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. He says that he will not be associated with the United States' inhumane, counterproductive decision to deport thousands of Haitian refugees from the U.S.-Mexico border. He adds that the U.S. policy approach to Haiti remains deeply flawed. The Biden administration is presently trying to handle the influx of thousands of migrants, many of whom are Haitian, and the U.S.-Mexico border at the U.S.-Mexico border in Del Rio, Texas. The administration has repeatedly vowed in public statements that the migrants will be turned away, drawing the anger of many Democrats and human rights groups who say it is inhumane to return the migrants because of Haiti's humanitarian crisis. Foote stated on his resignation letter that Haiti is racked with poverty, crime, government corruption, and a lack of humanitarian resources. He said the collapsed state is unable to provide security or basic services, and more refugees will fuel further desperation and crime. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security has temporarily suspended the use of horse patrol in the Del Rio, Texas sector. An investigation was launched after video of Border Patrol agents on horse patrol aggressively confronting migrants and whipping them around the surface earlier last week in that horrific scene. Also in the news this morning, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation announced a commitment of $922 million over the next 5 years to address global nutrition and advance its mission that all women and children have the nutrition they need to live healthy and productive lives. The pledge, delivered at the first ever United Nations Food Systems Summit, is the foundation's largest nutrition commitment to date. Nutrition is fundamental to better health and to an equitable COVID recovery. Yet both malnutrition rates and the aid levels are moving in the wrong direction, said Melinda French Gates, who co-chairs the Gates Foundation. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. We applaud the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for what they're doing to try and curtail the hunger in the world. World hunger spiked in 2020, likely due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And recent data estimates that around 1/10 of the global population, or 811 million people, were undernourished last year, and 3 billion people lacked access to healthy diets, largely due to lack of affordability. This, people, is America. This is supposedly the richest country in the world. There should be no hunger here in America or anywhere, because America holds herself out as a humanitarian country. So whether you're in Africa, China, no matter where you are in the Middle East, you shouldn't be hungry. Certainly, America should be able to itself take care of the problem. But thanks to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, light is being shed on this horrible, horrible problem. Also, fans of the Fujis got a great surprise in New York. They came out in droves as the Fujis reunited for the first time in 20 plus years. Reports say people from all generations made their way to Lower Manhattan and withstood a 3.5-hour wait on a windy night to get a piece of the history-making moment. It's been almost as we said, 20 years since the Fujis were last seen on stage together, but their performance left fans hungry for more. A live band accompanied by a suit and tie wearing brass section and backup singers introduced the legendary trio with an electrifying rendition of The Score and How Many Mics. Fans cheered at the sight of Wyclef and Praz, but they absolutely went insane for my girl, Lauryn Hill, as she made her entrance in a red ruffle dress, black circular shades, and a matching pair of platform boots. Lauryn was taking no prisoners. The Fujis treated the raucous crowd to hits like Ready or Not, Zealots, and Killing Me Softly. The group has reunited for the 25th anniversary of their groundbreaking album, The Score, and they plan to launch a world tour next month. Also, speaking of great music, 60 years for the Temptations. 60 years. They're celebrating today with a huge new single that was written by the founding member of the Temptations, Dr. Otis Williams, as you see there, and the great Smokey Robinson. You know, they've teamed up on other big songs, but the Temptations are back. 60 years. They're celebrating after the pandemic has ended, just in time for them. Well, it hasn't ended, right? But after the pandemic, they decided we want to get back out there and celebrate 60 years in style. And nobody knows how to do it like Otis and the Temptations. The new song with Smokey Robinson drops today. In fact, it drops in about 90 minutes. So go to all your favorite streaming platforms and get the new Temptation song written by Otis Williams and Smokey Robinson, celebrating 60 years of the Temptations. And next month, the Temptations return to Broadway. Yep, Ain't Too Proud to Beg goes back to the Broadway stage. Broadway's having a big year this year, folks. More Black shows than ever in the history of Broadway kicks off this fall with the Temptations' Ain't Too Proud to Beg right smack in the middle of it. So check out the 60 years of the Temptations, one of the greatest groups of all time. Dr. Chavis, our president and CEO, and I had the pleasure of having a great conversation with the legendary actor Antonio Fargas. But before we get to that, let us bring on the president and CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. Hey, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacey Brown. We're another Friday on behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. Karen Carter Richards, our distinguished chair, and all of the 230 African-American owned newspapers across America. You know, thank you for going on the headlines. We have to keep pressing forward. And, you know, I think that as we getting ready to, we in fall, and a happy fall to everybody. But we're also in the middle of flu season. We're in the middle of the pandemic. And so we have to make sure that we continue to protect ourselves from this pandemic and from all the other situations that we face, where the disparities in healthcare overall to all African Americans. So we have to be vigilant and persistent as we move forward. We can't stand still. We've got to keep moving forward, but we've got to protect ourselves and our families.
Yeah, we got to keep on keeping on, right, Dr. Chavis? Want to say good morning to all of our viewers. And Alma is watching this morning. Ask Alma. She is
great.
Looking at us this morning. It's good to see her. Our chair, of course, is fantastic. Always to have our chair with watching us. Karen Carter Richards from the great state of Texas, from that great newspaper, the Houston Forward Times. Yeah, I got to check out the Forward Times. I love the Forward Times. And if you read it, you'll understand why we love the Forward Times. Dr. Chavis, we had a great opportunity to speak with the great Antonio Fargas. We are going to close out the show with that amazing discussion. But before we do that, I wanted to just get your impressions on Antonio Fargas.
Well, you know, he's a legend, a living legend. He's been in the entertainment industry for over 60 years, and he's still strong. And I believe our viewers are going to be very pleased to hear some of the wisdom that he dropped during the interview, that he shared And he was very, even he's a very famous brother, but he's also very humble. And I think what he shared with us when we interviewed him, Stacy, was very powerful. It's very relevant to today.
Yeah. So with that, let us check in with the great Antonio Fargas. Well, Dr. Chavis, perhaps it is the glimmer of mystery and mischief in his eyes, or it may be the colorful characters he portrays, or maybe just the legendary status of Mr. Antonio Fargas. That is all best explainable by a combination of these and a number of other factors. He's unique, and he's spanned the test of time and more. I know you're excited to have him as well, Dr. Chavis.
Oh, absolutely. And on behalf of the Black Press of America, Karen Carter Richards, our distinguished chair, we want to welcome Brother Antonio to the Black Press of America.
Antonio Fargas, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great to have you.
Wonderful to be here.
Yeah. So now we know again your accomplishments are great. People love you and so many different things. Of course, Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch. Everybody loves Chris. So it spans generations. But today, though, one of the primary things you're here to talk about is you're going to be at a very special event next month in New Jersey, the Purple Diamond Awards fundraiser for the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation. Talk about that. How did you get involved in that?
I guess by being Huggy Bear, I don't know, and spending the time and all of that. And also where I'm at in my life, it's about looking for opportunities to give back and be supportive and to make my shoulders available for those, to stand on like they were available to me. So the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation came through me through a mutual friend who's the dean of publicity and PR, and Angela Ellaby. And because we've gone back for a number of years, and he knows exactly what my mindset is in terms of how I like to give today. So I was asked, and I said I'll show up. And the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation, having their Purple Diamond Awards fundraiser dinner, was a perfect opportunity. I will be also joined by Howard Hewlett, who will be entertaining. So it's a family affair. And I'm just grateful that I get an opportunity to share what I have and to be supportive of the work that Simone Gordon is doing with the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation.
Yeah, we had the privilege of having her on this very program not too long ago. The event is on Saturday, October 30th at 7 p.m. at the Waterside Restaurant in North Bergen, New Jersey. And you can go to the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation website and find tickets and how you can actually donate. Antonio, you're an NAACP award winner. You've done, as we said, so much. Now giving back so much. Is that all part of what we should expect from folks who have, like yourself, who've ascended to superstardom, really?
Well, I think expectations are sometimes an opportunity to be disappointed. I just see what those who come before me and the humility that they displayed in terms of knowing that I didn't realize that this was a spiritual journey all along, that in the beginning of my career, it was all about what I could get and what I could take. And I had a hunger that just needed to be satisfied. And I was so grateful for the opportunities that I've had to be in a business for over 61 years and to have gotten the opportunities that I have, and to know that it's all been because I was supposed to be here today. And also on October 30th, to be able to share and to say thank you for what I've been given, and to also to show young people that this is a way that they can achieve also.
Yeah, absolutely. And Antonio, obviously people remember you from your role as Starsky and Hutch and others. I mean, you played alongside Pam Grier and those movies back in the 70s. But one of the things that I know I remember you for, and I want to talk about that too, Cornbread Earl and Me. And the reason I want to talk about Cornbread Earl and Me is that was really, if you fast forward to where we are now in 2021, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Black youth, Black people in general being shot down by police. And Cornbread in that movie, if you don't know the movie, he had a soda pop in his hand. He would run every day and have this orange soda pop, and they intimidated everyone to say it was a gun or it looked like a gun. Talk about the significance of that today. Did you think back in I believe it was 77, when that movie was released, that it would still have the same implications in 2021?
There are a couple of films, that one being a very poignant sort of foreteller of what was happening and what was about to happen, and the foundation for what was happening today. And then there was also another film called Car Wash, which also told a certain story. But, you know, as an artist, you just want to tell the story and be the character and be used, and letting, you know, my higher power, let God use me to be able to focus on the character and the humanity of the character that I played. And we didn't know that these things would be, that this would be a forerunner for the things that happened. We were just sort of doing our job, but knowing that there was the power of the story, and looking back. And sometimes it takes perspective to be able to see, you know, be able to live long enough to see the impact, and then also see the impact that it's had on the audience, and how that is connected with the craft that I was so gifted or blessed to be able to portray these characters and be a part of history, and to be able to look back on that today. So yes, it's when I look at it today, I say, you know, it's very powerful. It's very, very powerful, and it means so much to be able to say, okay, this is something that happened, and this is what the results are. They say art is sometimes the mirror to life, and sometimes it's the mirror to the future. You know, Michelangelo, all the artists who created things and then had a vision or a connection that were able to manifest itself today in art and invention. So it's nice to be able to sit back and also recognize Melvin Van Peebles, who passed away yesterday, and then I was also looking at the power of the Muhammad Ali documentary that was on PBS last night, and that just, today I'm more emotionally available. I had to have a lot of defenses against the things that I was feeling, and I got a chance to express myself through these characters. But today, the walls are down around my heart. The walls are down around my feeling, and I can sit and I can cry. I can laugh today, and I'm available for those kinds of emotions. So just last night, it was just and then to see Melvin Van Peebles passed away, and then to see that, as I go along, the class gets smaller. And why was I chosen? Why was I chosen to be here today? 61 years, and starting with this business when I was 14. So I'm 75 today, and why was I chosen? And to let that be, it's a peaceful feeling, and to be able to sit back and let the process happen. Nothing happens in God's world by mistake, and to allow that today is a gift. Yeah,
Dr. Chavis.
Yes. Well, you're a long distance runner. You've made all kind of impact, the characters that you've played, but also Antonio Vargas. I would say something about you. You have epitomized not only the genius of Black America and able to communicate with emotion, with passion, with a sense of freedom, justice, and equality for all. But you've opened the door for generations of other actors and actresses that have followed your 60-year plus career. And we just want to, on behalf of the Black press, thank you for all that you continue to do, all that you have done to lift up a people who are still crying out for freedom, justice, and equality.
Yes, to be, there's a lot. I'm not alone. And that's the wonderful thing, that I'm not alone. I'm just a soldier. I'm just a soldier doing what I call not the dirty work, but the necessary work in terms of representing those who didn't have a voice.
Yes.
Yeah. And Antonio, as you noted, we recently lost Melvin Van Peebles, another genius whose star rose during the same period as yours, of course. Do you think that the current state of Black filmmakers recognizes the debt they owe to pioneers like yourself and Mr. Van Peebles?
Unfortunately, no. And that was part of my process, is that I thought the world started when I started. And today, the artists who have a sense of history are the forerunners, but there's so many of us who, I was looking at that almost 15 years ago when I first came to living in Las Vegas here, and also getting connected with so many of our young people who have a disconnect, who don't know that the civil rights movement was on the shoulders of young people, who don't know who Martin Luther King is, the depth. And that's why I'm so happy to see that when Melvin passed away, we get a chance to rekindle and see how important his impact was, to see how important Muhammad Ali's impact was, to see how important Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all that. So there's such a wealth of knowledge in these little devices that we have. I get lost on YouTube just looking at interviews and history and music and all those things which are available to young people today. And they're starting to get it. They're starting to look back and through the impact of things like George Floyd and being present right now, seeing the things that are happening, and now seeming to make that connection of knowing whose shoulders they stand on. So I'm very heartened by this pause that we've had through COVID and all those things that have given us a way, and through George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all of that, and how it's been embraced by marketing. It's been embraced, just like they said about the blaxploitation was more of an exploitation, but it also gave an opportunity for people like me, artists like me, to say I can do that, or that I have an opportunity to share or to be a part of the process. So I'm encouraged by what young people the awareness that's out here today, and the awareness of us old folks, of us old folks who say, okay, I don't have to manufacture. I can't make someone learn something before it's their time. They have to go through this process. I call it giving young people, my family, the dignity of failure, because out of the challenge, out of the dust comes light. And unfortunately, sometimes it's fortunate. I just have no problem with the timing of things and what's happening, and knowing that eventually we'll get a perspective on today and what's happening today. And I may not be here to see it. And just like Martin Luther King said, I may not get to the mountaintop, but I'm passing on what I have. I'm passing the baton to those who care to, to do the work, and sometimes young people want to be spoon-fed everything. There's a sense of entitlement of our own, because we think we're entitled to suffering, entitled to these things, and we have to relearn things and be entitled to love,
Absolutely. Dr. Chavez, I know I see you, that perked you up as well.
Well, I absolutely. Well, there's a certain, at Brother Antonio Fargas' age and experience, there's a certain solemn wisdom that comes out. And so we're listening today to a brother who's seen the peaks and the valleys of the entertainment industry. He's seen over a period of time our major leaders who have come and made their contributions. And we call on today. I'm also encouraged that young people today are learning more and more, Antonio, about what happened in the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, and on in our long travail. We have made progress, but we have to keep pushing forward. We have not overcome yet. We have not gotten to the mountaintop yet. So we have to keep on struggling and keep pushing forward.
Yes. Keep seeking. I seek, wisdom and truth. And every day is another journey.
Yes.
I believe, in the great film production of life. Every day I get a script in the mail which tells me what I'm supposed to do. And I just have to be able to thank my power, my higher power, that I have the ability to get out of the way and let him work. I guess the cherry on the cake for a life is to realize that, again, like I talked about before, is that it's been a spiritual journey, that and each and every one of us is on a journey. I don't know when it's going to be over. I don't know when my time comes. I know I'm on the short side of the calendar. I'm so happy that I was able to get this sort of awakening through the process of making mistakes, through the ups, the peaks and valleys, and knowing that it was part of a plan, that my power, my higher power, is not through with me yet, and each and every one of us, until our last breath, that we have an opportunity to seek,
Yeah. And Antonio, do you have the opportunity to provide mentorship, counseling, or advice to younger artists?
On a one-to-one basis. Sometimes it's at the coffee shop when someone recognizes me. I had a young man come up to me at Starbucks and said, "Oh, Antonio, you don't know what this means to me. I used to watch Starsky and Hutch with my dad, and before he was finished, he was almost in tears." Because that's the power of television. That's the power of what we do. We don't realize. I try to make spiritual deposits in my spiritual bank account. I have a bank account, and today I make those deposits by picking up the newspaper, by picking up the paper off the floor, by standing in line patiently and not getting upset because someone cuts me off. I don't want to let anything get me off my spiritual base today. And I don't let something ruin my whole day. I don't let other stuff rent space in my head. All these little things that that are survival techniques or instincts that I wasn't able to have access to as a youngster, and for obviously I wouldn't want to change anything in my life today, and to be able to say that means that everything was meant to be, so I could be here right now having this conversation, on this show with Dr. Chavis and you, and all because of a premise of saying, okay, I want to be in Bergen County, Bergen, New Jersey, on October 30th, helping those who are helping others. So, yeah,
and that's what the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation does. They help others. That's a great point, Antonio. You've seen, as we stated, right? You've seen so much over your long career, fantastic career it has been. How has Hollywood changed for African Americans in particular when you go back to the 70s, the 60s and the 70s, and then you look at today's Hollywood?
Wow. Well, like Dr. Chavis was saying, we might be fooled to think that everything is done, because we do see ourselves everywhere. We do see that because of the advances that we have, that I call it's a latte world today. There's when I first started, there were a few male Black on television. I mean, we started transitioning from the blaxploitation period and from the renaissance of theater in New York and the New York Ensemble Company and all these things, which foundation, because theater is the well where it all started. And so And then film came, and the power of film, and for us to start to be included and to work our way in and to be able to communicate subliminally with characters like Huggy Bear, and characters that I had to play in order to, again, to give the heart and to communicate with my people through the struggle, just like Amos and Andy, all of that stuff, and the artists who are real people who had to endure what they had to endure to get satisfied, to get the satisfaction of knowing that they could work at their craft and feel something and know that they were making somehow of a difference, even though it was just because they needed to make a living. But again, the minority role was black males, and then females started coming, and then we had to share as advances. We still got pushed aside in a sense, because then it became Hispanic, then it became all other ethnic ability, diversity in casting and all of that. So, but we are a strong, resilient people. We are a strong, resilient people of no boundaries in this globe and this planet that unites us, because there really are no boundaries, that we draw the lines, we are tribes moving around, and now we have these things, and television is a product, it's a product to sell things. So seeing past that and knowing what it takes to be a part of this thing, and to also to give opportunity to young people to see that it is possible just to dream. I also work with the 100 Black Men of America in the Las Vegas chapter. I'm very proud of the work that I've done with them, and the work that I try to do in terms of mentoring and being a part of that. There's a organization, in the city organization called the West Las Vegas Arts Center, where I spend a lot of time. I found a home here when I got here 16 years ago, and I didn't know that there was a Black community that had such a rich history here in Nevada, in Las Vegas. So that's how I spend the time, but it's all reflected in the fact that there's such a demand for product today on television. There's so many streaming. I mean, so we might again think that we don't have any problems, but in a sense, it has gotten better, and the hope is, and the upshot of it is that young people have. As again, I said that they can dream, they can make a film with their cell phone, they can do all these things, and there's so many outlets to express. And I think finding, not in a formal sense, but finding their spirituality, finding how God, for instance, and whatever God you believe in, plays an important part in our community, played a part in our communities across the country, and kept us together, and survival of the Black church, and survival of Black universities, and survival of Black theater, even though it's morphing as we speak, but to know what the essence is, to get back to the essence of why we needed it so much, and the Chitlin Circuit, all of that.
Is there something, a role perhaps, Antonio, that you would like to see yourself in today that perhaps you haven't explored yet?
When people ask me what role did I like in terms of the roles that I played, I it's like saying, which one of your children do you favor? And I never wanted to be the leading man. I never wanted to be, I just wanted to do a small, and I made my reputation or whatever by being a small pixel in the big picture of a lot of films. And that's what there's the role that I would like to play today is someone who says less, who just says less, doesn't have to, just being present, and the presence. Anthony Hopkins, wins an Academy Award, and he's 80-something years old. It's just So it's just about being proud. There isn't any role that I would like to play. I think whatever's out there for me. I used to worry about my next role. What was going to get? Talk to my agent, all of that stuff. Today, I realized that I only got what I was supposed to get. And I wouldn't be here today if I didn't get exactly what I needed at the time. As I can take my hand and let my script arrive every day and know that I will be taken care of.
Yep,
Because
absolutely.
I try to take care of others.
Yes, well, I just want to be the executive producer and announce that Antonio Vargas is playing Antonio Vargas today. He is the leading man. He is the leading actor. And the wisdom that he's sharing is not just for a momentary audience. It's for generations to come. We thank you for your leadership. We thank you for your genius. We thank you for your perseverance for all these years. And we thank you for your vision of a brighter future.
Thank you, Dr. Chavis.
Absolutely. And catch Antonio Fargas again on Saturday, October 30th at 7 p.m. at the Waterside Restaurant in North Bergen, New Jersey. He will be a part of that Black Fairy Godmother Foundation's Purple Diamond Awards and fundraiser, giving back as we know he does. And we thank you so much, Antonio Fargas, for joining the Black Press of America, and keep up the great work. We've always followed your career, and we will continue to follow your career. Thanks a lot, Antonio.
Thank you for the opportunity.
God bless.
God bless.